What differentiates Google and is its existing ecostructure of products, which have become infrastructural for most consumers. ChatGPT loses at least $2 for every $1 it spends. And as Brian Merchant wrote for AI Now, the company fails to have a discernible or profitable business model. True, they are burning money. Not uncommon for new startups, though. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, as AI increasingly becomes more expensive to integrate into products, firms who are best positioned to succeed are those who have alternative revenue streams to offset costs, profit off high compute costs, or those who can easily integrate AI into their existing product workflow. So, for example, profiting off high compute costs, that's why NVIDIA are doing very well. There's also why Oracle just signed a huge deal with OpenAI and Larry Ellison became the richest person on earth, is because these are companies that provide AI services or compute. Google is able to take capital-intensive risks on AI because of its ongoing search monopoly profits. This is what I want to come back to. By owning Google Cloud, Google can discount the cost of running its own models. True. And finally, Google can integrate AI into all of its existing products, tapping into a user base of billions. True. So they can add it to Gmail, they can add it to other products they have, Android. In fact, a Google executive testified in this case that Google has already integrated generative AI into every single one of Google's products, again giving the company an impossibly strong upper hand on those AI startups listed as competition. Sounds pretty good. And when people talk about who's going to win AI, Google are a really strong contender because they do have a huge company. They have cash. They have people like Demis Hassabis, who we're going to be talking about in a moment. And Gemini's a good model. Gemini, interestingly, just hit #1 in the App Store yesterday. So it's above ChatGPT. You can download the Gemini app and people have realized Google's quite good. Google AI is really good. People are mainly downloading it because of Nano Banana, which is part of the Flash 2.5 model. Yeah. So Nano Banana is the image generation software. So people are mainly getting it. That doesn't matter. They are getting Google Gemini onto their telephones for the first time. This has not happened before. It's always been ChatGPT. So people are realizing Google are in a good position. Google have great tech. Gemini is a solid model. They have deep pockets. They have cloud infrastructure, and then they have products that they can plug it into. All true. But the thing that I want to come back to is Google is able to take capital-intensive risks on AI because of its ongoing search monopoly profits. Yes, this is where Google's money comes from. Google is not a tech company. Google is an advertising company. And I've talked about this previously in lives. Google's money comes from search revenue. It comes from giving adverts at the top of a search result. That is where I think 70% of their revenue comes from, and it is at a very high profit margin, like 70, 80% profit margin. That's where all of their cash comes from, and they make an immense amount of money. I'm going to have to look this up. I think it's 125, so Google revenue, I don't want to get this wrong, 350 billion in 2024. Yep. Google's revenue was $350 billion. So that largely comes from advertising because they are an advertising company. They're not a tech company. They make money from ads. So yes, they have a bunch of revenue coming in because, where is it? AI because of its ongoing search monopoly profits, 100%. However, that is getting eaten into by artificial intelligence. So they are in a very weird position right now where their cash cow, where they make their money, is going to be destroyed eventually by artificial intelligence. The way that we are accessing information is shifting from search to generation. It is a paradigm shift in how we access information. In the same way that we used to go to the library or own Encyclopedia Britannica, we used to access information through books, and then we moved to accessing it through the internet via search. We are having a similar shift where we're going to be moving away from search into generative AI. Google have a huge ship to turn around. They are making $350 billion from search right now. They need to pivot to that whole gigantic enterprise and all of those people and all of those teams and all of those technologies so that they can come into a new revenue stream, which is going to be based on generative AI. So their savior is also the thing that is going to eat them alive. Can they do it? Yeah, probably. Google are in a good position. They have high cash reserves. They have really good people on their team. They have good technologies. They're not burying their head in the sand like Apple are, but instead they are building really good models. They were the ones who bought DeepMind years and years ago because they were like, we need to get on with, we need to look into this AI thing. So they are leading the charge, but they need to replace a huge amount of revenue. A huge amount of revenue at a very high margin needs to be replaced by something that is new, something that has not proven to have revenue models in place. Now, all of the large AI companies will probably add advertising into their generative because this is where the cash is, but nobody has successfully done that yet. So if Google is going to move in that direction, which they are, they're doing AI overviews, they have a new AI tab in their Google search, and they're pushing people towards the Gemini app to access information instead of search. They're going to have to work out how to monetize that to the same extent as their current search revenues. And that is not impossible, but it is a very large ship to turn. And they have a lot of momentum in one direction. And you need to cannibalize your own business to move to the new form of business. Whether or not an incumbent can do that, we don't know. Or maybe we're going to see creative destruction where they get eaten, they get destroyed by new people who are built from the ground up for generative AI. And they don't have all this baggage of search. This is all extremely speculative, but I just wanted to point out that this kind of article, this paper, which is extremely bullish, extremely positive on Google, needs to take into account the fact that they have a lot of changes to make, and they need to basically dismantle a highly profitable business model and replace it with something that is speculative, and that's going to be difficult. Not impossible, but extremely difficult. People don't want to be constantly sold stuff. That's the attraction of ChatGPT. 100%. That's why people are moving from search over to ChatGPT generation, because there aren't adverts. Unfortunately, this means that people aren't clicking on websites anymore. And Google's actually helping this as well because they're adding AI overviews, which leads us down the road of the zero-click internet. We're not clicking on a website, so the website owners don't make money from the traffic, either through running ads or through affiliate links or through selling their own products. What's going to happen, and there's no way this is not going to happen, is we are going to get ads in ChatGPT. We're going to get ads inside Gemini. We'll get ads inside Claude. Maybe not Claude. Probably Claude. They're going to move the ad ecosystem inside of where the eyeballs are. Because if you have, I think ChatGPT has about 700 million users. If you have that many people, there's a huge amount of money that can be tapped into from advertising revenue. Now, what they'll probably do, unless they're greedy, what they'll probably do to start is serve up ads inside of ChatGPT for free users. So if you are on the free plan, you'll get ads. If you're on the paid plan, you will not get ads. Nice, basic, simple model that people understand. That will be the case for a few years. The free users will grumble, but they'll be like, okay, fine, I'm getting it for free. In the same way that we do with Google. We're like, we don't pay for Google, so okay, fine, they can show me ad. We get used to it. And then after a couple of years, they'll realize, oh no, we can do what Disney Plus and Amazon Prime do. We can get a membership and we can show adverts. We can make money. We can make money both ways. So that's what a lot of the streaming companies are doing now because they want to squeeze more money out. So even though I pay for Amazon Prime, I get shown adverts on Amazon Prime, which is annoying and upsetting, but what am I going to do? And consumers basically get used to these things, and it gets worse and worse as a user experience, but it allows these companies to make more money. We'll see something like that very likely with OpenAI and ChatGPT. So first, adverts coming for free users, probably in the next year. There's too much money left on the table for them to ignore. And then later down the line, oh, we're going to slip some ads into premium, would be my guess.